I always believed that if something felt wrong, it probably was. We'd been married for 12 years. David was charming, successful, and meticulous about everything, especially money. He was a senior financial analyst at a private firm, and his obsession with spreadsheets carried into our household. Every transaction was tracked, every penny accounted for. So when I noticed the odd withdrawals, I knew something was off. It started with a charge of $347 from a boutique hotel downtown. We hadn't stayed anywhere recently, and David was supposedly out of town that week. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe it was work-related and billed incorrectly to our joint card. But then came the $180 dinner at Jardin, a romantic French bistro we'd always said was too expensive for just one night. The name looked too elegant to be business-related. Then came the nail in the coffin, a $950 jewelry store purchase. I hadn't received anything. My heart raced as I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through months of our credit card history. Sprinkled between groceries and gas were more charges that didn't fit. 2 tickets to a spa resort. Repeated purchases from a women's lingerie store. A flower delivery service that never reached our home. I didn't cry. Not right away. I printed everything out, page after page of betrayal masked as transactions. When he came home that evening, briefcase in hand and ties slightly loosened, I greeted him like any other night. "I checked our account today," I said, voice flat. He looked up from removing his shoes, a cautious smile playing on his face. "Yeah, everything all right." I handed him the papers. "You tell me." He flipped through the sheets, and the color drained from his face. "It's not what you think," he began, but I'd already heard enough of those lines in my head. "Then what is it, David?" I asked. "Tell me what part of Le Jardin silk robes and hotel bills doesn't look like you're sleeping with someone else?" He stammered. It was a mistake. "No, a mistake is forgetting our anniversary. I tapped the paper. "This is a double life." He didn't deny it. He didn't even try. Her name was Sienna, a 29-year-old intern from his firm. It had started innocently. Of course. Coffee meetings, late nights at the office. But the paper trail betrayed them long before his conscience ever did. I moved out a week later, into a small apartment near my sister's place. I filed for divorce and requested a forensic accountant. Turned out there was even more hidden bank transfers, a secret credit card, a condo lease in his name. The deception ran deeper than I ever imagined. Funny how I once hated going through bills and budgeting. Now, I thank those transactions for saving me from a life built on lies. Sometimes love lies. But the numbers? The numbers never do. The divorce proceedings were sterile. Cold. There was no shouting, no drama, just lawyers, paperwork, and the occasional awkward eye contact across the courtroom. David looked thinner. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe Sienna wasn't as easy to manage now that the affair had cost him his family. What stung the most wasn't the betrayal. It was the fact that I hadn't seen it sooner. I kept replaying our last anniversary in my mind. He gave me a cashmere scarf, told me work had been insane, and barely made it home in time for dinner. I wore that scarf with pride. Now, every thread of it felt like a lie woven tight. In one of our last conversations before I left, I asked him why. Why her? Why risk all of this? He sat on the edge of the bed, his eyes hollow. "I don't know. It just happened." That phrase, "it just happened," like falling, like tripping, as if cheating was an accident and not a decision. Again and again, he tried to make it seem like it was a midlife crisis, that he felt invisible, that he needed to feel alive again. But I'd been invisible for years too, and I didn't run to another man. I built our home. I managed our life. I kept the family spinning while he told me he was too tired to talk. 2 months into the separation, I received a call from the credit card company about suspicious activity. Apparently, David hadn't removed me from his new card yet. Out of curiosity, or maybe instinct, I logged in. There was again a new name, a new restaurant, a new pattern. But it wasn't Sienna. Her name was Marina. He hadn't just cheated on me. He had started cheating on her too. That was the moment I finally stopped blaming myself. I realized I could have been anyone, a wife, a mistress, a stranger in a bar, and David would still be who he was, a man addicted to attention, validation, and secrets. Part 4, Rising from the Ashes. I started therapy. I joined a support group for women betrayed by longtime partners. For the first time, I didn't feel alone. I met women who had similar stories, some with kids, some with scars that ran deeper than mine. And together, we stitched each other back together. I took a job at a nonprofit focused on financial literacy for women. Ironically, the same spreadsheets that exposed my husband's affair were now the tools I used to empower others. People say betrayal breaks you. And yes, for a time, it did. But eventually, I found something better than revenge. Freedom. Freedom from watching over my shoulder. Freedom from wondering if I was enough. Freedom to rebuild a life that belonged to me. Every penny, every breath, every damn detail. David sent me a message last month. Just 4 words. I miss you. Forgive me. I didn't reply. I archived the message and smiled because I finally understood the best revenge wasn't anger. It was peace, and peace was mine now. It's been nearly a year since I first discovered those transactions, the trail of receipts that led to the end of everything I thought was solid. I've sold a house. It held too many ghosts. I live in a smaller place now, with big windows and no secrets. The quiet here doesn't ache the way it used to. It heals. I changed my last name back to my maiden one. A small thing, maybe, but it felt like reclaiming a part of me that I had slowly given away during the years I spent trying to make someone else happy. Sienna messaged me once. She apologized, not for loving him, but for believing his lies. She thought she was the only one. I didn't respond. She wasn't the villain. She was just another page in his endless book of excuses. As for David, he still tries occasionally. A birthday message, a photo of an old memory. But there's nothing left for him to find here. That version of me, the one who forgave too much and asked too little, no longer exists. I've learned something vital. The truth doesn't always come in a dramatic confession or a tearful argument. Sometimes it shows up in transaction logs and line items. Quiet, unmistakable, cold, and thank God it did, because those numbers set me free. Now, when I log into my bank account, I see only what's mine. No secrets, no shadows, no lies. And somehow, that's the most beautiful balance I've ever seen. A few weeks ago, I closed the last joint account, David, and I shared. It was symbolic more than anything. We hadn't used it in months. Still, watching the banker click through the final steps and stamp the file, close felt like a quiet ceremony. No applause, no confetti, just silence and closure. I walked out of the bank that day into golden afternoon light, the kind that makes everything feel possible again. That night, I poured a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and checked my personal accounts. The numbers weren't large, but they were mine. My salary from the nonprofit, a few investments I'd started, a savings plan with my name, and only my name on it. But what truly mattered wasn't in digits. It was the peace I felt every time I looked in the mirror and saw a woman who left, a woman who chose herself, a woman who didn't need someone else to give her worth. The strange part? I don't hate David anymore. I pity him. He's still stuck in that cycle, always needing someone new to make him feel valuable. But I don't need his apology, his regret, or his explanations anymore. I outgrew the version of myself that needed closure from him. I gave myself my own. Closing scene. Sometimes I walk past Le Jardin on my way home. The glow from the window spills onto the sidewalk. Couples sit inside laughing over expensive wine. And for a moment, I wonder if they know how fragile love can be when built on lies. Then I smile and keep walking. Because love, real love, doesn't need hiding places. It doesn't sneak through hotel side doors or pay for silence with jewelry. Real love shows up, stays present, and doesn't need a secret credit card. And someday, if I find someone who knows how to love like that, I'll be ready. But until then, I'm good, I'm whole, and I'm finally free.